Welcome again to this short series of devotions in this Holy Week. May God strengthen you and bless your day. Today it is Maundy Thursday. The name Maundy comes from a Latin word, mandatum, which means to command. The name comes from today's Bible reading, where Jesus commands his disciples to love one another. Today in our Gospel reading, we go a little back in time. Naturally, after yesterday's reading, we would have followed Jesus to the crucifixion, but that will be waiting for us tomorrow. Today we will focus on Jesus gathering together with his disciples to have their Last Supper together. There, Jesus speaks to his disciples and gives them an example to follow. Now let me read the Gospel of today. It's from the Gospel of John, chapter 13, verses 1 to 15, and then verse 34 and 35. You will find these links for the Gospel readings in the text field of this video. Now before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart out of this world to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. During supper, when the evil had already put it into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he had come from God and was going back to God, rose from supper. He laid aside his outer garments, and taking a towel, tied it around his waist. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, do you wash my feet?" Jesus answered him, "What I am doing you do not understand now, but afterward you will understand." Peter said to him, "You shall never wash my feet." Jesus answered him, "If I do not wash you, you have no share with me." Simon Peter said to him, "Lord, not only my feet, but also my hands and my head." Jesus said to him, "The one who has bathed does not need to wash except for his feet, but is completely clean. And you are clean, but not every one of you." For he knew who was to betray him. That was why he said, "Not all of you are clean." When he had washed their feet and put on his outer garments and resumed his place, he said to them, "Do you understand what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for so I am. If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that you also should do just as I have done to you. A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also are to love one another. By this all people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." Foot washing was the lowest thing that a servant could do, but Jesus did just that task. This is the reason why Peter first said, "No, you cannot wash my feet." But when Jesus said that without this Peter would have no share with him, then Peter submitted to Jesus' will. Now this act of Jesus speaks to us in at least 3 different ways, and I will shortly go through them. Firstly, it tells us about humbly serving each other. Jesus did so that he put himself in the lowest position and in most humble position to serve and wash his disciples' feet. This example commands us to do that same thing as well. When somebody is needy of something, there is nothing too small where we should not help, but we should always help. we shouldn't think highly of ourselves, but of each other. Secondly, the washing of feet is a symbol which refers to baptism. When people in that setting were walking to their neighbor's house, their feet got dirty because of dust. They had open shoes. So even when they had bathed at home, when they went to the neighbor, it was proper to offer washing of feet so that they would be clean. This imagery tells us about baptism. We are washed clean from the punishment of sin in our baptism, in the full bathing of the body. But when we continue in this life, we always need forgiveness again and again for new sins that we have committed. Therefore, we need to ask forgiveness from God every day, just like feet were needed to be washed many times a day in the time and setting of Jesus. Without this washing, we have no share with Jesus and his kingdom. We need his forgiveness. Thirdly, the way that Jesus here humbles himself in the lowest position to serve his disciples tells us also something about how he serves us on the cross. Dying on the cross was a humiliating and cursed way to die. But this way Jesus became this humblest servant to us, so that he could pay the price and penalty of our sin. In this Holy Week, we see Jesus serving us this way with every step of the way. All of it is suffered for us. So how do we react? Jesus gave his disciples and also to us an example and a commandment to love one another and to serve one another. This is the reality of how Christians should be known in this world. So maybe here we find the homework we should pay attention to. In this Holy Week, while we are waiting for Easter Sunday, let us show love to one another, especially to other Christians, so that we are known to be Jesus' followers. Consider your brothers and sisters in Christ. Help them when they need you. Show them that you care. Let them know that you support them in every situation. Pray for them and stay connected. Encourage each other with the hope of salvation that we have in Jesus Christ. After this Last Supper that Jesus had with his disciples, he spent a lot of time speaking with them, but after that he was taken to be judged in the court and later to be crucified. So this is a turning point from where everything begins. Now our devotions from Monday until Wednesday tell about events that happened after this Last Supper. And tomorrow we will have the Good Friday service conducted by our Pastor Richard Ondicho, and we will focus there on the crucifixion of Jesus. Now we have come to the end of our devotion. Thank you for joining. I hope that you enjoyed and you will continue following us tomorrow in Good Friday service, Saturday in a devotion, and on Sunday in Easter Sunday service. Don't forget to support the work of Luther Church Helsinki and our Pastor Richard Ondicho. You will find the corresponding mobile pay numbers right here. You will find us in Facebook and YouTube by the name Luther Church Helsinki. And above all, may the peace of Christ be with you all.